Welcome to the Next Time podcast. My name is Sundar. I lead the forensic services at Next Time. This podcast is part of Global Anti-Corruption series. Our podcast is an endeavor to bring up emerging topics of relevance for executives across spectrum of services we offer. Hope you enjoy the podcast. Across the geographies, regulatory environments are changing, business practices are changing, and behaviors are changing with COVID. Anti-corruption in the current environment is bringing newer dimensions with issues around supply chain, healthcare, and other reporting requirements. Regulatory interventions and the whole new virtual world is looking open at this point in time in the current anti-corruption environment. We will be interviewing specialists across regions to gather insights on anti-corruption in current times. The region that we would get covered today in this podcast is Italy. Today we have with us Bruno Cova. Bruno is a partner with Delfino, an associate law firm of Wilkifar. He handles matters relating to corporate governance, compliance in internal investigations, and defending corporations and senior management before regulators. He was a general counsel and a chief compliance officer as an in-house professional earlier. He had served in various positions in IBA Anti-Corruption Committee. It's a pleasure to have you on board, Bruno. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Sundar, and it's my pleasure to be here with you today.
Bruno, I just want to get on to the specifics of the conversation. How do you perceive in the current times that there is a lot of changes that have happened in the past 60 days? How do you perceive corruption risks in the current environment?
Yeah, thank you. So corruption is a very old temptation, has been with us forever, and will continue to be with us. So I think in this respect, the risk of corruption due to COVID has changed. So it's not so much whether it has increased or decreased, but I think it has changed. And in my view, it has changed in terms of impact on industry sectors, in terms of the potential weaknesses that the new way of working has created, and in particular in connection with control systems, and in terms of the incentive to accept or resist bribery.
It is a very interesting point where you're mentioning that it is about the resistance or acceptance or accept or reject a bribery. What is the kind of behavior that is evolving, right? So do you think this has been caused completely by COVID? These are caused by the current environment, business pressures and all that? That's how we see it?
Yeah, I would say on the incentive side, as we know, a big part of the measures that were taken by governments to try to limit the spread of the virus was lockdown, preventing economic activities or making that economic activity more complicated, interruption of supply chains and all that. So this has created two effects that, in my view, are relevant in terms of incentives. One is that many companies are now in a distressed situation, so they're facing financial difficulties, and that can encourage some people to take shortcuts in terms, for instance, of obtaining contracts to guarantee that the company can continue trading, or in terms of obtaining liquidity, obtaining financing. So it is pretty typical that when a company is distressed, the tolerance of management to wrongdoing will decrease, and people will be prepared to do things that can at times be illegal to keep the company going, to preserve the value of the company, and so on. On the other side, we also have a number of people who are facing unemployment and have their jobs at risk. And there again, it is a recipe where the wrong economic incentives can play a part in having these people doing things that are illegal, either because they no longer feel loyal to the company or because they have economic necessities that makes them more sensible to the possibility of engaging in wrongdoing.
Absolutely. So, Bruno, you did mention about how the governments have taken action, and that creates a lot of economic pressure for businesses to look at things differently. One of the thoughts that arises out of it is that there is also increased government reporting that has come in at this point in time, be it in terms of the reporting relating to health or reporting relating to other interfaces, right? There is also a lot of incentives that the governments are giving. So do you see that as a new type of government touch points for corporations which did not have such government touch points earlier? They might have had only a tax related touch points, not necessarily on other spaces. Do you think that is creating a new set of corruption risks in the current times?
Yes, absolutely. So I think there has been a shift in terms of the risk. Generally speaking, all governments, certainly in my country, but throughout Europe and in many other countries, doing a few things to address the situation, which include making the access to liquidity easier, so providing liquidity to companies and families, individuals. And this creates exposure to the risk of fraud, but also creates the possibility of bribery, because, to give an example, a company that may not meet all the requirements to obtain that liquidity at particular good terms may be tempted to bribe the official that will be granting the loan. Here I'm talking sometimes of bribery of public officials, but at times also bribery, private to private bribery, for instance, bribing an official of a bank. The other thing is that because of the disruption of supply chains, the need to keep employment, the need to recreate infrastructure that had been often sort of outsourced to other countries, there are going to be many investments by governments in public works, in the purchase of, for instance, healthcare equipment, and this, of course, together with the relaxation of the rules, which has become necessary to guarantee that the supply time is reduced and that these economic activities can start quickly, creates both an incentive to bribery, but also a relaxation of the rules, and therefore many companies that before didn't have many opportunity to be in touch with the government now are more exposed to the risk. So there are more government touch points than there used to be.
That's a very well put point, Bruno. I think the governments are spending more at this point in time to bring in economic activity. And of course, the government spend is going to expose further challenges in this. And you did definitely put a reference to healthcare as a focus. Now, how do you see the risks of corruption change in Italy or the larger region of Europe per se, due to this remote working, lockdown, or the relaxation thereof, and an extreme focus on healthcare at this point in time?
Yeah, healthcare is an industry that has become key because of COVID, and many countries have realized that their health system, whether it was the private one or a national health system or a combination of the two, as it is in most countries, was not fully equipped to deal with the situation. So this has created many opportunities for the healthcare industry, in the sense that the investments in that space have increased dramatically. And again, also in this space, we've all seen news of hospitals being built in 2 weeks in a number of countries. So when you do that, of course, the ability to turn every stone and make sure that things are done properly is greatly reduced. And this provides opportunities for wrongdoers. In my country, we have already seen at least 2 high-profile cases in which bribery was involved in the supply chain for the National Health Service, in the supply of masks and other equipment relating to COVID. So even in a situation where vast majority of the country is fully devoted to try to identify solutions and get through. Even in a situation like this, there are still people who think that they should profiteer from this situation. So the healthcare industry is certainly, in my opinion, one of the industries that is more at risk at this point in time.
I can't agree more, Bruno. But one of the things that also extends from this is that it's not just about the healthcare industry, but also the healthcare equipments are even funded by other industries at this point in time in support of the healthcare initiative globally, right? Do you think that also has an impact in this whole process?
I would say yes. I think healthcare, which was a sort of an afterthought for many other industries, now is including my industry. I'm a lawyer, so law firms have realized how important the healthcare side of their business is relevant to what we do. So there have clearly been more intersection. Also, we have seen, at least in my country, situations where industries that were not involved in the healthcare space have been quickly reconverted to provide healthcare equipment. So, for instance, it's a brand name that will be known to all the listeners, Ferrari. Ferrari, they produce racing cars and sports cars. But Ferrari, part of its production capabilities was reconverted to manufacture respirators. So, that gives
The business is changing, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so it has become very pervasive, and of course, healthcare is a particularly complex space, which creates on the bribery side an issue, but also has to adopt very strict safety standards, very clear protocols. And so when you have a situation where in practice every industry now depends on the healthcare industry, but also some industries have had to become sort of part-time healthcare industries, that creates very interesting dynamics.
Absolutely. So that's really true that the industries are changing and the dynamics are changing. And in this current circumstance, how do you see anti-corruption regulatory changes or enforcement in Italy in specific? Do you see more enforcements coming along? The anti-corruption focus is getting more further?
Yeah, I would say there are some general trends here that create an environment that is potentially conducive to wrongdoing, not only in the corruption space, but I'm thinking, for instance, of fraud in terms of obtaining public financing, clearly violation of health and safety rules. So there is, we're all working in a different way. So we are working from home. Some people are worried about their job. All the informal jobs have disappeared for 3 months, which in turn has created opportunities for recruitment for organized crime. As unfortunately the listeners will know, Italy is a country where in some parts of the country organized crime, criminal organizations are an important part of life, and so when you have people who do not have a job, then the temptation to be recruited by those organizations becomes important, and those organizations then are going to ask these people to conduct illegal activities. So coming back to the corruption space, so in my view, I don't think we will see necessarily an increase. In some industries, yes, but overall, I think the focus may be more on other crimes, but we will see a shift. So, for instance, the oil and gas industry that has been for traditionally a potential target for enforcement actions, well, I suspect that this is not so much because of COVID, but for the decarbonization drive and what's happening with the oil price, there will be less pressure on that industry because there will be the industry will be less keen to acquire mining assets. Other industries like healthcare, clearly they're facing an enhanced risk at this point in time. And as I mentioned before, we have already seen at least two high-profile enforcement actions in Italy in connection with bribery in the healthcare sector. I'm sure there are more. These are visible because newspapers have reported about them, but I'm sure there are more happening at this very point in time.
That's a very interesting insight, Bruno. I just wanted to get to the end of our conversation where I wanted to just ask you, what are the 2 or 3 things that you want to leave it to the compliance officer operating in Italy or covering Italy as part of their role to consider at this point in time to address anti-corruption risks of their organization?
Yes, as you mentioned before, I was myself a chief compliance officer many years ago, so I have a lot of sympathy and attention for the predicament of compliance officer. I think that their job has become even more important than usual, but is not business as usual. So they need to remap the risks that they're facing. This is true in Italy, but I think it's generally true everywhere because an awful lot has changed. The companies are doing different things in a different way with different partners, with supply chains that have changed under different rules. So they will need to remap the risks. And once the risks have been remapped, they will need to reallocate resources. So there may be too many resources that are no longer needed, that are dedicated to risks that have gone down, and no resources or very limited resources are allocated to risks that have now become more prominent. In many cases, a retraining will be important. One thing that we touched upon during our conversation is the fact that we are all working from home, and that creates a control environment that is very different. So people are not in the office, you cannot see what they do. They're working from home, using instruments that are sometimes are instruments of the company, but they may be their own personal computers. They may be using their own Wi-Fi system. So the tools that are typically available to a compliance officer to monitor what's happening may not reach what could be reached until 3 months ago.
Fantastic, Bruno. I think that those are very insightful pointers of reassessing risks, looking at reallocating their own resources, and also progressing towards how they want to look at the training. I think very insightful thoughts, Bruno. It's a pleasure having you on this podcast. I look forward to talking to you again soon.
It has been my pleasure. Have a good day.
Thank you.